I think it's all good. Welcome. Hello everyone. It's been a little bit of time. It's been about 2 weeks since I've had my last Bunny Babble because, and we're gonna be talking a little bit about it today. I went to Canada. I was visiting Taiga. We went to Veld Music Festival, and you're gonna be able to hear about all about the fun times of me leaving my home and finally finishing being a hermit. At least for, this year. And I went back, this is a 3D model. I haven't used this in a bit. I felt like, there's some variety. I would connect the hands and be able to use my little wiggly sticks, my fingers, my fish sticks, my popsicle sticks, but I'm lazy, so I'm not doing that. I'm also recording this a little bit late because I wake up at like 4 p.m.-ish and I socialize a little bit. And so this is coming out a little bit on the later side. But, most of the time that my shit gets posted is like, midnight, 1 a.m. So, for you late night degens that don't know how to go to sleep at a reasonable time. Hi, that's me too. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm awake during these times. I don't go to bed until like 7 a.m. So I feel you. I'm one of you. And hopefully you can enjoy this late night ramble Bunny Babble, where I just talk about a bunch of random shit. I'm gonna have to. Where's my little jingle bells? I got one of them. So here, jingle, 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 jingle. I still have it. I have it. So before we even start anything, that jingle. Every time you hear that jingle, I want you to think that you should be subscribing right now. The channel's been getting a decent bit of traction. The last, the Thumpin' Barks have been doing pretty good. The Bunny Babbles seem to be doing decent as well. And apparently, as all good YouTubers should do, you're supposed to tell them in the beginning to subscribe and like and leave an algorithm comment down below. So before we get into any of the topics, I'm gonna say that. And then, the only time you gotta actually worry about listening in and focusing, I'll have my jingles. I'll do a little jingle if you're new here and you don't know how this works. I jingle when I'm doing the start of a topic. It's like, so you just listen to the jingle, find out the topic, and then see if it interests you. If it doesn't, just keep doing whatever the hell you're doing. You're probably doing like, who knows, IT work. You might be a coder having those fancy like coding thigh highs. Whatever you do, I feel like most of the time, especially for these longer videos, you're just kind of, I'm kind of in the back burner, and, unless it's a topic that you're particularly interested in, I'm just kind of like autopilot in the background. But there are a few people that like just genuinely listen to the whole thing, and I see your comments. They look like essays down below, and I love every single one of them. Just sometimes they're a little daunting to read because it's like reading, like I feel like I'm like an English teacher and I'm fucking I have to grade this essay. Like there's a thesis, there's a hook, there's how many paragraphs? Lewis is out there. There's a few others. Lewis is the one that comes to mind, but there's definitely some paragraph writers in the chat, and I called you chat. I'm so sorry, Fluffle. I definitely enjoy reading them, so thank you for those of you that actually take and listen to my questions that I have. Really, I place them throughout the videos. But yeah, we're gonna start diving right into it, and this one might be the longest segment because I'm gonna be talking about my fun jingle topic time. We're gonna be talking about something personal. I went to Canada last week. That's why I wasn't able to do the Bunny Babble, and a ton of shit happened while I was like, partying with Taiga. So for those of you that have been listening to the past few Bunny Babbles and the past few other things, you may know that I have like a pinched nerve or something like that right now that's going on. And let me tell you, this was the first time I've ever gone to an airport by myself. Like I was dropped off at the airport, and I normally I'm the type of person, like for example when I was going to Australia with Mama Bun back for my high school graduation present, I essentially just followed. I followed the person in front of me, and I knew what to do based off of just following someone, but I was on my own. So of course the first thing I did was I walked up to I was dropped off at the correct terminal at least. I found the nicest looking person I could see, And I said, "This is my first time here. I don't know. What do I do? I don't know what to do. I don't have luggage. I just have this backpack. I just have my one carry-on. What do I do? Please help me." And the first thing they said is, "Do you speak English?" Or I don't know how to do French. It was either English or French, essentially. And I'm like, I'm English. I'm English. And then they were very kind. They were really sweet. They just brought me to like this little computer thing, you know, and I typed in my information, and then off I was to the little place where you wait. And so I sat there for like 2 hours or so. And then eventually it was time to board, and then I boarded. Wow. And then it was a 3-hour flight from Florida to Canada. And my back did not like that flight. Both the return flight and the like going flight, both of them, I didn't have someone next to me, but I had someone. Essentially, it was me, empty seat, and then a person both times. And I am so happy that there was not someone directly next to me, because they would have thought I was like schizophrenic or tweaking or on some sort of drug, because oh my god, it hurt so much to just sit there. Like, I was constantly changing one leg to my other leg, to leaning backwards, to like leaning forwards, to like switching my other leg again, to then putting both legs on the floor, planting feet, and then like stretching one foot, and then like putting pressure on the other foot, and then putting pressure on the foot then again. I probably looked crazy because I was just trying to find a moment of relief from like the leg pain. And when my leg finally stopped hurting, it would then switch to my back. And so I would have to like lean more back, and then my leg would start hurting. So I would have to put pressure on my leg, and then like put my leg and like cross my leg, and then switch it again. And it was just constant state of moving. And on the first flight, I had an exit seat, and I've never really, I don't know much about planes. I don't know much about flights. So apparently, I only had a carry-on. And so I had to put the carry-on up at the top. I didn't know that I wasn't allowed to have my bag right next to me. So my poor bunny self only had one AirPod, and I knew that I couldn't access my bag because I was in an exit seat. And I didn't have my other AirPod thing. So essentially, like halfway through the flight, my AirPod died, and I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do for the rest of the flight? So I had like my phone at 2% volume, and I was just listening to like a Tyler the Creator album, like pressing the phone up to my ear really, really close, and just like constantly shifting, like, you know, because of the whole leg pain and stuff like that. I probably looked so weird. And then when we finally landed, of course, I was just in an anime t-shirt. I think when I landed, I was in a Deadpool t-shirt, actually. I had like my shorts, and I was wearing flip-flops, which, let me tell you, my feet are so blistered now. I ended up buying shoes in Canada, but I brought flip-flops, and on the first day of the music festival, I wore the flip-flops, and my feet, like, they were like all bloody and stuff. That's how much it was. Like, one of the Taiga's theories of why I even have the pinched nerve to begin with is because of whenever I go anywhere, I wear flip-flops and stuff like that. And so if you walk for long periods of times, that actually like kind of fucks you up. And that's like all I wear. But so I was just showing you my getup, what I look like. I you know, just hunchback VTube streamer, like shrimp posture, you know, coming out in flip-flops and an anime t-shirt, looking disheveled and like, you know, and I'm walking out, and now we've landed, and I'm all alone, and in front of me, I see Sorty. And I see a bunch of people going out, and I know that because I have carry-on, I don't have to get luggage or anything. And I'm thinking Sorty is like, okay, that's where they sort the bags. And so I don't want to go to Sorty. I want to go to like, I don't know, an exit or something, or like Arrival or whatever. I'm supposed to go there. But like the only thing in front of me says Sorty. I don't know what the hell that is. I don't need bag sorting, so I hope like that's okay. So I like turned behind me and I asked this guy standing behind a desk. It was like completely empty aside from like me and him, and I was like, how do I get out of here? and he just pointed at the sortie, and I'm like, okay. And then so I walked out the door. It turns out, and I learned this from Noxie, who was the one that picked me up. Oh my god, there was so much walking, which with my bag leg and after the horrible plane ride and like me wearing flip-flops, god, it was, it was so painful. And so I walked there, I got out, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck this sortie thing is. Why is there sortie everywhere? And then Noxie tells me, oh, that's exit in French. Why the fuck is that exit in French? How does that make any sense? Why is sortie? Sortie, like that's sorting. That's like sorting something. Like why is that? How is that exit? I mean, like, you know, like in other languages, there's I think they're called conjugates, where it's like they've like have, you can kind of tell what the word means from the English. Like it's sortie. How would I especially in an airplane place, I would think sorting is like bag sorting, not exit. So I was mad about that. I was fuming. And as we were driving home to Noxie's house, and for those of you who don't know, Noxie is Taiga's mod. That's who I was staying with whenever we weren't in the Airbnb. And so essentially, the first thing we did was we got McDonald's, because one of the things that they were bragging about in Canada is just how much better the McDonald's is. And so I tried a Big Mac. And that was my first Canadian food ever, was McDonald's. And I ate that Big Mac, and you know what my thought was? My first thought process? It's okay, I guess. I mean, it's just a Big Mac. It wasn't spectacular. It wasn't amazing. It was okay. So, yeah. And I got to see Noxie's cool gamer setup. They had like a huge tablet. They had like 3 monitors. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. The next day, so the day one, okay, so here, let me give you the timeline. I left on Tuesday at around, like the flight left at, I believe, 9 p.m. and I arrived around midnight. And so once I got home, I slept. And so day one was just getting there. Day two was essentially I slept. I relaxed for day two. And so I rested, and then I believe day three was we ended up going to a trampoline park, and I do have a cute little picture that I don't know if I tweeted yet. I'll definitely tweet. It's definitely in the community page. If you look into the YouTube community page, you can see that there's like a cute little picture of me and Taiga. Actually, let me see if I can pull it up for you guys. That way you can see like a little example. So the trampoline park, which is where, you know, this is my first time meeting Shira, Taiga, and I was staying with Noxie. So I didn't realize how much my leg would hurt with the trampolines, and holy, it was a little rough, and people called me crazy for even trying to go on a trampoline with my leg all fucked up. And so trampoline parks, there's like different sections and stuff, and one of the sections that we went on was something called it was like the Ninja Warrior thingy, where it's like a bunch of different challenges. And here, you should be able to see it. There you go. Here's an image of like a recreation of what it was like. This was at the trampoline park. There you go. And I'm serious. Every single time I attempted like the first step, I just fell straight down, and it was so hard. It's just everything in the trampoline park was just unsteady movement. Like it was so hard to just stand because everything was so wobbly, and it was just, how am I supposed to get out? And the worst part was I am like a noodle when it comes to my arms. Like, just like how, like, that's why in the Sherry lore, I'm not strong. To get out of the pit, I needed to use my upper body strength to pull me out of it, and like I don't have upper body strength. That was hard. And like I've you know, you guys don't know this, but you know, Taiga and Shira and Noxie, all of them are fucking, they're like fucking like twunk, man. They're like so upper body strength strong. Like all of them could pull me up. And like, you know, I struggled to pull myself up. Like they could like do everything. They were so like fit, and like they had like so much upper body strength that I was so surprised, because like Taiga and I mean, okay, Shira definitely had some muscles, but they're like twink, they're like skinny, you know, like they're really skinny. So like, you know, I got to feel both, like, you know, I got to feel all their muscles, and like I mean, I can't compete. They're like they're like, you know, they're toned for sure. Which was kind of a surprise, because, you know, and I think of VTubers, because like they're all like, one's a drawer and then the other two are like, you know, VTubers, and like I'm not thinking like they're gonna be like, you know, super strong, and they were. So I failed every single time. It was a ton of fun. It was a ton of laughs. I think my favorite part was the dodgeballs. And then we did like 4 corners and stuff like that, and it was a lot of fun. We couldn't last super long, and my leg was like super out of commission after a little bit. I think we lasted about an hour in there, and you know, you get like an hour and 30 minutes in your time, so like it worked out. It was fine. Plus I ended up bringing the Florida weather with me, so it was just super hot. Like they couldn't handle it. Of course, for me it was just like every other day weather, and then there were just a ton of kids there because it was summertime, so we didn't, you know, we were kind of hoping to have it all to ourselves, but there was like a ton of people there, a ton of kids there, and like, so we kind of left a little bit early. And then we went to, I believe, Roots, which was a steak place, and it's a really fancy restaurant. Shira got absolutely drunk, like wasted. Like they ordered a Cosmo, which is like a cocktail. It's like highly alcoholic. They drank it within like 2 seconds, and it was gone. And even the waiter was like, you know, you're supposed to drink it, right? And then they were like, I'll have another one. And like, Shira was absolutely wasted. Like when their meal came, they had to go to the bathroom because they were just fighting for their life. And then Taiga was just waiting for this steak. This steak is like the steak was dependent on their life right now. They really needed a good steak after all the shit that was happening, and they were so happy. Once Taiga started eating that steak, they were pleased. They were like, is this not the best steak you've ever had in your entire life? And I'm like, the only experience that I have with steak is Taco Bell. I feel like I'm not the best person to ask about fancy and or good food. I enjoy my packets that I microwave, where it's just pasta. I put some milk in it, I put some cheese in it, and I stick it in the microwave, and that is fine dining for me. Like, I'm happy with steak from Taco Bell. So I feel like this $150 steak is like wasted on me, because it's like, yeah, it's good, but I wouldn't know what good is. Like I'm not a connoisseur of steaks. Like, don't get, like, when you cut into it, it was butter. I got it rare because, you know, I love blood. I love murder. I love killing. So of course I got mine rare. And like it was good, but I you know, I'd be lying to say if, like, I wasn't more excited for the mac and cheese. Which sadly I ate all my steak because the steak is a lot more expensive than mac and cheese, so I couldn't finish or really eat the mac and cheese because I had a filet mignon steak. And the steak definitely was really good, but I feel like if anything, Papa Bun would have enjoyed it a little more than me. Just because I don't know what a good steak would even taste like, because my taste buds are like, ooh, Taco Bell, yummy Taco Bell, yummy. There's, of course, I have pictures of it, which I could try to find pictures of the steak. I will have to. It might be a little rough to find it on the. You know, I send a lot of pictures to my Patreon chat. I also did try to. Like, I tried Tim Hortons too. And after the roofs, we ended up going to our Airbnb and we watched some movies and then we slept. And you know, we settled into our Airbnb. We had a lot of like peace tea in the fridge and like a Nest tea, which is like Shira's favorite. And a lot of the days we ended up having Tim Hortons, which is essentially like the Dunkin' Donuts / Starbucks of Canada. And it's got good food. It's worth it. The price is really, really good, especially because in Canada they have like monopoly money, where it's like, you know, five Canadian dollars is like a penny in American dollars. So it's like, you know. But I got to try some of their donuts. Well, I only tried one donut. I tried the Boston cream donut because that's something that I was told to try. I tried their quenchers. I didn't really like it too much. It was okay. And their food was pretty good. I tried their steak bagel because we had it over a few days. The steak bagel was mid. It was okay. I prefer McDonald's steak bagel more than I like Timmy's. And then I also tried the flatbread parmesan pizza thing that they had. That was really good. That was probably the best thing that I had there. And I also tried their buffalo chicken wrap, which had like cucumbers and rice in it, which was a little bit of an odd choice. We don't really, you know, at least that's not how I normally have my buffalo wraps in America. But it was good. It was good. I tried it. It was good. I would say the food in Canada is pretty good. We also got like over the course of the few days that we were there, we got like Chinese food. We went to Mandarin and Red Dragon, and they were, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Chinese food, but they seemed to like it. Red Dragon seemed to have too much food for Taiga, and we had a ton of leftovers, and no one ended up like eating the leftovers. Shira might have been able to take it home, but I'm not entirely sure. And then, you know, we ate. We had, it was good. It was good. I actually tried poutine from a Chinese buffet restaurant, the Mandarin there. That was, you know, it was pretty good. I got to try poutine. It was pretty good. And then finally, now we have the days of the music festival. We went to Veld Toronto Music Festival. Some of the people that we got to see there, I'm not the biggest fan of EDM, so I don't know many people are there, but it's like Marshmello was the only one that I knew, and we did get to see Marshmello live. And it was my first time going out to a rave. We were out, it was an outside venue, so we were outside the entire time, and we were absolutely jamming. We were partying. I would say the first day and the third day of the music festivals, because it was a 3-day music festival, we went every single day. The first day and the third day were definitely my favorite days. I was feeling social. I was really, really happy. We were dancing. The first day, I was struggling with my leg a little bit. But because it was outside, I was able to like just lay down on the grass if I was ever feeling like it was too much pain. And on the third day, I actually managed to, like, for the majority of the day, to just stand up and keep standing. And like, I luckily for me, moving my body in a way to alleviate the pain of the legs just kind of looked like me dancing. So I you know, I had some funky ass moves. I was like pelvic thrusting, like moving to the side to like, you know, having like the weird wide hip movements and stuff like that. And I was just constantly readjusting my body. But, you know, I moved my hands while I was doing it. So it looked like I was just fucking really feeling the music. And I found out that as long as I didn't lay down and I kept this up and I kept doing that, then like I'm good to go. I'm good to keep going. The second day was a little too much for me personally. It was not the best experience, just because I'm an introvert, you know, and so I had a lot of external stimulus that was like kind of overwhelming. And so, like, you know, they were, Noxie and Shira and Taiga, they were all checking up on me and stuff, and they were like, are you okay, are you okay, are you okay? And then that like started making me think, am I not okay? Should I not be okay? Is not everything okay? And then like that was a fun night. That night was don't know, it was a little too much for me. And of course, every time that we came home, we ended up like, you know, we were either on like the couch bed together, and we were watching like Evil Dead. We watched Freddy Got Fingered. We watched The Anarchist. We watched all of the Evil Dead movies. We watched the Babadook. We just watched a ton of movies. We watched like 3 of the Scooby-Doo movies. Velma was so cute in all of them. I really liked how Velma looked in all of them. And you know, we just had a great time. It was a good time. And it was my first experience of just, you know, well, it's technically my second experience of meeting people from the online internet world. The first experience that I had essentially was the reason that I kind of turtled up, and I was already scared before I met the first person of like meeting people from online, because 1, I have low self-confidence, stuff like that, and 2, it's like I've heard so many horror stories and stuff like that, and so having my first experience be a negative one made it so I essentially didn't leave the house for 3 to 4 years. And I just so randomly just, you know, jumped the deep end, and I took a plane ticket for a week to Canada alone for the first time. Like, you know, I don't even leave my house. Now I'm leaving the country by myself, without family, with people that I've never met before, you know, and I'm glad that I did it. I'm glad that I make the step. I'm glad that I like actually went there, and I got to meet everyone. I got to, you know, I got to experience real life. I touched so much grass. You wouldn't be able to believe how much grass was touched. It was literally an outside venue. So I touched a ton of grass. I got to meet Taiga, I got to meet Shira, I got to meet Noxie. I got to see how sweet and like funny and like I guess real like Taiga is. Taiga, like how Taiga acts online is like that is exactly how they are. Like that is like they are essentially kind of what kept the group together. They were, you know, like they were kind of like the life of the party, I guess. They were the most social, despite how I know like they're kind of an introvert. So I feel like they're pushing themselves to, you know, they don't want to be fake. They want to be themselves. They want to be true to like, they want to like be who they show themselves to be. And I can respect that. I feel like I was also just myself. I was real, you know. I like, you know, I'm very quick-witted, I guess, when it comes to like stuff where it's like I'll be pretty quiet most of the time, but once I see like a joke or a topic to like pop in on, that's when I, you know, I go off on, like if I see an opportunity to make a joke or something like that. But I'm more so of the I'm a little more quiet, I guess. I hope that I was an enjoyable company here. I hope I was funny. I hope I was fun. I was definitely comfortable with them, and I mean, they all seemed pretty comfortable with me. Shira was super awesome. They're super sweet. They're like how I would describe them is they're just a vibe, I guess. They were like they if you just left them on their own, they would just would have walked, and they would have been like, they just would have been, they're like in their own world. They are like a vibe of their own. Like if we feel like we kind of would have needed a leash for Shira, because like they would have just kept going. they're just there to enjoy the experience. They're there to like, they are there for the ride, is like how I would describe Shira. They're very sweet. Fucking, that's the second Bunny Babble in a row now. Welcome, Raga. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the Fluffle. That is the second Bunny Babble. I should shut that off. Yeah, shout out to Ragba. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, and then Noxie was an absolute wholesome sweetheart. Noxie was kind of like the mother of the group. How would I describe it? Like she was just constantly trying to make sure that everyone was okay. Yeah, of course that made spats with Taiga happen, because it's like that would clash sometimes, which would lead to such funny, like, God, there are so many funny moments of just like, you know, it was just really funny. But Noxie was definitely very wholesome, very sweet. They just constantly always wanted everyone to be having a good time. And you know, I think we all did have a good time. We, you know, I mean, there were maybe a few days where the vibes were a little down, but that, you know, that just switched, that changed, and then it was, you know, it was happy again. And then I went back to, after the Airbnb, after the 3 days of that, I essentially had 1 day left, and so Noxie drove Taiga to Shira's house, and we went back to Noxie's house, and then the next day I went back to the flight. And when I took the flight home, I was a little, I was a little sad, of course, to leave because I had such a fun time. But I was also excited to get back home because that means I get to make content again. I get to exist again. I get to like finally make my bunny babbles. And I missed you guys, and I was super motivated and super excited to just get to work on a bunch of different things. I want to work on ASMR more. I want to work more on the Patreon. I want to work more on the lore, and I want to make more videos like this, and like hopefully be able to have more of a variety aside from just the Bunny Babble, the Thump and Bark, and the clips. I want to do like fun little, maybe like more commentary type stuff, or like, you know, I might be able to do shorts and TikToks as well as like some of the Thump and Barks, and just a ton of fun stuff. I just want to do more. I want to stream more. I want to just do more, and you know, hopefully that'll go well. And so like one of the funny stories about like when I got home, we were driving home. Papa Bun was the one who was driving me home, and Papa Bun was like, yeah, when I told everyone that like, you know, I'm leaving the airport because Sherry went to Canada, like I told your aunts, your uncles, you know, my friends, they were all like, did you are you sure you meant Sherry? Like was that a mistype? Was that a typo? Because like everyone knew me as like I never leave the house. I don't leave the house. I'm not going to leave the house. And just like all of my family was like, you're telling me that Sherry can leave the house? we thought that he was gonna be a hermit forever. And it was a really fun story, and then, you know, I got to retell it over on Twitch where I stream. We had a Thump and Bark, and I also explained it a little bit 2 days ago because, you know, I do the Thump and Barks every Friday. And you know, I'm gonna do more. You know, I said that I was gonna talk about it on the Bunny Babble. Here I am talking about it on the Bunny Babble. Talked about it for 30 minutes, like just about 30 minutes. That's, you know, I said it was gonna be a long segment. I told you it was gonna be. But that was the experience. Do you have any questions about my Canada experience? Do you have any like questions about the music festival? Do you have any questions about me talking about Taiga, or do you have any questions about Taiga? Do you have any questions about like Canada or my experience with Canada? Do you have any questions about the food? You know, just feel free to ask me anything. I will answer any questions that you have about Canada. And now that's enough about me. I've rambled on, I've babbled on enough about this bunny boy. And now we're going to get into the current events. This is probably going to be a lot of current events because a lot of shit has happened over the past 2 weeks. Before I even go into like my little Twitter where I like mark, you know, the things that I want to talk about. First, huge thing that's been talked about. Huge thing. Mr. Beast is being like super under fire right now. Mr. Beast hasn't replied as of yet, because Mr. Beast is essentially waiting for the third part and the final part of what their former employee is like making of the expose and stuff like that. And so far, it seems like the entire world is turning on Mr. Beast. Even Mr. Beast's close friends and stuff like that are saying like, I can't associate with you unless you at least respond to this. Because some things that have been happening, and I'll give you a short TLDR of the whole Mr. Beast thing and all the things that are being accused and alleged. And of course, down below, I will link the different, like, you know, the different videos that have been, you know, essentially part 1 and part 2. And there's a third thing that came about. I'll have all of them linked in the description below, of course. I believe Dogpack is the person who made the videos for Mr. Beast, or they're the like the former employee that's coming out. Is it Dogpack? Yeah, Dogpack 404, Mr. Beast. So essentially, Dogpack made a video. The first video was talking about more of illegal practices and kind of preying on children and stuff like that. Some of they essentially attacked the transparency and the honesty of Mr. Beast, because Mr. Beast talks about how everything in his videos, he like prides himself on how everything he does is real. A lot of people don't really care if it's real or not, because, you know, obviously it's YouTube, it's dramatized. It's like, you know, you're trying to make an entertaining video, not everything is going to be perfect, especially when you're dumping millions and millions of videos, because like, why would you want to dump like $50 million into a video and then it's like the video, you know, nothing exciting happens in it, so you just can't use it. So of course you're going to pull some strings, of course you're going to do that. The problem is the fact that Mr. Beast lies and is saying that it's all 100% real. So Dogpack showed off like 50 things of just things that weren't real, some of which are like really, really small things, such as like one CGI'd person or a raccoon or like, you know, like, or a CGI car. Some of them were like more big, but essentially it just showcased that like not everything is, you know, like true in the videos. Which, what comes to the problem is when people think the videos are real, they think that they have a real chance of winning things, and they think that they have a real chance of just like doing things, such as like one of the things that Jimmy did, well, Jimmy is Mr. Beast, by the way, if you don't know, was like he walked up to a person on the street, asked if they were subscribed to his YouTube channel, and gave them like $1,000 to $10,000 if they were subscribed. And so if a kid sees that, or if, you know, anyone sees that like that, they're like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I subscribe, that way, you know, in case, you know, I could just get some free money. Some other things that are like more damning is the fact that like if you sign up for something like Mr. Beast games, which is like the kind of like the big controversy right now because they're being mistreated, some of the shit is rigged. Like it was heavily rigged against the elderly and the female contestants, and they essentially were just getting bullied out. And, you know, you believe that you have the same chance as everyone else, or, you know, at least you think that your chances are as good as they are. But then there's a bunch of contestants in the show that are Mr. Beast's family, Mr. Beast's employees, and stuff like that. So it's like some of the people are essentially like people that Jimmy knows. So, you know, he would be more inclined to give it to that. And, you know, he's just not transparent with the people that are joining, and which people are real and what people are fake and what people are actors, and what like specific parts are just like framed to be real but aren't real. And like the lack of transparency can really hurt people who think like they have a serious, genuine like chance to win. And one of the earliest people that did it, that came out, I believe their name was like Brianna or something like that, and it was during a hide and seek with a bunch of other YouTubers, and they said that it was unfair because they were supposed to win, and they essentially, you know, Mr. Beast framed it to the point where they were not. And a lot of people who liked Mr. Beast, and like the majority of the internet liked Mr. Beast, essentially pushed her to the side and were like, you're just salty that you lost. We like Mr. Beast, you know? And now people are going back to that situation being like, yeah, maybe we should have listened to you. And it's pretty funny. So the two other things that are said in the part one of the video, I forgot to jingle. Jingle, jingle. We're talking about Mr. Beast. Jingle, jingle, jingle. This is a little bit late. It was about, we started talking about this like 7 minutes ago. Jingle, 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 Mr. Beast. And so one of the things that we talked, or the other two parts in there were about his candy brand and his illegal gambling, which is the two most, or at least the illegal gambling is definitely very, very not good. That one, you can get into some heavy lawsuits and you're actually physically breaking the law. One of the biggest examples of the illegal gambling that was showcased in the video was a bunch of live streams that Mr. Beast did, where he's saying, if you call in within the next 5 minutes, you'll get $5,000 in your order, and you're gonna get this and you're gonna get that. And then as the live stream goes on, you can see that it's like not organized, and people are spending money. A lot of kids are spending money thinking that they're gonna get prizes because they listen to Mr. Beast say, you know, if you buy this, you're gonna get money. So of course they'll buy it, and not everyone that buys it will actually have the money to do that. And it's literally illegal. Dogpack went into great detail of what makes something an illegal gamble or illegal lottery. Went through there were 3 different aspects that like make it. And you know, he went through the video and he showcased that it was breaking all three of the rules. And essentially, to summarize it, it is you basically, you can only have one of two things. Either it is free, and everyone's chances are like random, or it's paid but your chances are more so guaranteed. I believe those were the two things. The dog pack video explains it way better, and I'm going off of the top of my head after, you know, it's been a while since I've watched it and seen this. But essentially, Mr. Beast did a lot of shady things, and one of the horrible things that happened during the live stream is people were literally like forging or pretending to like put his Mr. Beast's signature, like the other part of the crew, it is shown on camera of them signing like Mr. Beast's signature, where, you know, now like his signature doesn't mean shit because now you can't prove that it was actually him, so it loses so much value of if you can't guarantee whether or not this is actually Jimmy's signature, because, you know, obviously someone that isn't Jimmy, the value of that is a lot less than if you had something specifically signed by that person. And then the last thing in part one that was talked about was Feastables, which is Jimmy's candy brand. Essentially, the thing that was being harped on about this was the fact that the candy was originally marketed to be a very, very safe candy for people that like, you know, because in America there's a lot of junk food and a lot of what you put into you leads to obesity and stuff like that. So he tried to make a healthy candy bar for kids. It targets kids, has a lot of stuff, and there was even illegal gambling in the kids. It basically promotes gambling to kids with like the golden ticket and stuff like that, where he bribes kids to essentially buy his candy and they'll get rewards and they'll get sweepstakes and stuff like that. And without saying anything, they ended up changing the ingredients to the chocolate bar, the Feastables chocolate bar, to make it, one of the comparisons that Mr. Beast used was they were like, you know, they used 4% or, you know, 25% of the sugar that Hershey's uses, so they're just so much better and healthier than Hershey's. And now if you look at the ingredient lists and ingredients and stuff like that, the Feastables candy has even more sugar than Hershey's, when, you know, he was describing himself as like, you know, being way healthier than Hershey's. But Feastables now has more sugar than Hershey's, and, you know, despite being marketed as a healthy candy bar, they are now arguably very, very unhealthy, and is now adding to the problem that they were advertising that, you know, they would be solving a problem of like obesity and like all this bad stuff. And so that was part one. Part two happened. Part two came out. Part two was talking about how they basically brought in another employee, so Dog Pack, the first employee, invited over another employee that is a disgruntled employee, and their name was Weedle, I believe. Weedle, something like that. They do stand up. They were very, very engaging. They were very, very entertaining. They were very funny. And the story that they had to tell was just how mistreated they were, as they showed a little bit of racism, which wasn't a main focus, but essentially someone that was darker ended up getting paid less despite them having a child and doing the exact same job than Weedle, and that upset Weedle. One of the major things was just how poorly Weedle was treated in the company. He showcased that it was a lot of the times, or some of them at least, were faked, like the actual videos, because he was a part of one of the fake videos. He ended up, you know, faking a reaction of his car getting crushed. He was talking about how the fact that, like, if he was working at a TV company that was as successful as Mr. Beast, he would be able to retire because of like how much money he should have been making, but he isn't making because Mr. Beast is not paying him the wage that he's supposed to be paying him. He talked about how bad the work conditions were, and then he talked about how horrible one of the challenges that he was essentially forced and coerced into doing by getting like world-changing money. He was going to get $300,000 to be able to pay off all his debts, to be able to move and all this stuff, and he essentially went through a torment of Jimmy. And, you know, he ended up getting both psychological and physical damage, where he had to go to therapy, and he basically gained insomnia from this. I'm not going to tell you the whole story because I would appreciate you watching the video yourself. It's very entertaining. It's very good. You could tell the guy's being as genuine as you can be. Either that or he's a really good actor. He actually starts crying during parts of it. You can tell he's getting very emotional. It's not like, you know, he's not really faking the tears. At least as far as I can tell. Of course, there's just amazing actors out there. He could be faking everything, but it seemed very, very genuine. He was a very good entertainer, and you know, you kind of feel for the guy, because it just showed the amount of mistreatment, and it just, yeah, I don't know, it kind of sucked. And then the heaviest hitter and the big banger, and what people are really harping on Mr. Beast for right now, is the fact that he hired a sex offender, someone that's on the, it's proven that they are a sex offender, they are on the sex offender list, and they were charged of diddling or touching someone between the ages of 1 and 11, which is really young. It's not, you know, anything under 18 is obviously, you shouldn't do that, that's not good, especially if you're like fucking 30, 40, 50, you know? But like the ages of 1 to 11 is crazy. And Weedle, his father went to jail for similar charges, and so he really, that just does not sit well for him, because he had to personally experience it. Not like I don't believe he was touched, but you know, if it's still a case that's relatively, like, you know, relative to stuff that he's experienced, so it's definitely gonna be a sensitive topic. So once he heard that the nickname of the person was like Minnesota or something like that, and allegedly the reason why they were called that nickname was because that's the state they're not allowed back in because of, you know, the sex offender charge. And so the person was literally in a video, and they had a mask in the video because they, you know, they wanted to hide the fact that he was a sex offender, and he was a manager for the company. So it's just like, it's really not a good look to have someone that has diddled someone under the age of 11, and it could be between 1 and 11, and having them working at a, you know, a fucking place that, you know, the audience is majority kids of Mr. Beast, you know, a lot of, you know, 100 million subscribers. I think they have like 300 million subscribers. How many of those do you think are kids? Like, who, you know, it's a majority kid audience. They have the most time, they have the most money, they have the most, like, that's why the candy bars are marketed towards kids. That's why all this stuff is marketed towards kids. It's because that's who's gonna spend the money, that's who has the retention time, that's who has all the time to actually give their attention to, you know, these videos. So having someone that was a sex offender for, you know, a minor, and especially a minor that young, like, not that any minor is good, but like, they shouldn't be in control of or this high of a position in a company that mostly works with kids. And that was like the heaviest hitter so far of it. That's definitely the most egregious thing that Mr. Beast has done of this little group. I implore you to learn more about the topic if you want to, if you care about it. There's a bunch of different stuff that's coming out about Mr. Beast. I will link to the dog pack videos, both of them down below. And there's another employee that came out that basically just said they were mistreated and Mr. Beast stole their idea. That's definitely, you know, it's just showing that, you know, Mr. Beast has a poor work environment, a poor workplace. And even if Jimmy himself is a good friend or a good person, that doesn't mean that he's a good boss or he's a good company owner, you know? Especially if he's turning more and more of a business, you know, it's getting, you kind of lose your humanity, and that's not POG, that's not good. You should have good working conditions, especially if you have the amount of money that you do to have to spend. You might as well spoil the people that make it so what you do is a reality, and, you know, make your life easier, make your job easier. I mean, at this point, you're kind of just a face, you're just kind of a brand. You don't even have to do anything anymore. You have people that can do everything for you. So, you know, while you may have started the show, you know, everything is automated now. You should be making sure the people that are doing everything automatically for you are happy and are good. That's how I feel about the topic. Like, I have editors now. I have a lot of, like, this is not edited. This is just me. This is me talking. This is the Bunny Babble. This is personal. I am talking this. I'm not editing this. I am talking to you guys. It's a one take. It is a, you know, putting my heart out for you guys, you know, my precious fluffle. And like, I have like 3 editors now. I might even have 4 soon. And while I can't like pay them the most, is like, I can't pay them as much as I want to, because, you know, I don't make much money from YouTube. You know, they make my life easy, they make my job easy, they're making it so I'm essentially the personality, and now they're working on the work, they're adding content, they're adding more. And so, like, you want to treat them well, you want to have a good relationship with them, you want to be friends with them, you want to be able to, like, you know, Like it's way better to, you know, be kind to your employees and actually like treat them like human beings and be nice to them than like you know, treating them like shit. Like, I don't know. I want to make sure that my work environment is good. That's my personal. I'm also not on as huge of a scale as Mr. Beast, but I mean, when you're set on that pedestal, you got to make sure that you know, don't have such, you know, bad bad skeletons in your closet. What can I say? Okay, but that's all I got on the Mr. Beast situation. That was the hugest situation that's currently in the works. It's still ongoing. Next week's Bunny Babble will probably also talk about it. And now we're going on to the next topic. These ones are going to be a lot more funny, and these ones are going to be a lot more fun. This is just shit that I have marked on my Twitter. It's going to be a lot shorter, and you know, it's time for the jingle jingle. Time for the jingle 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 jingle. Oh! We're going to be talking about KFC. We're talking about KFC. This one, I remember, I think I was at Noxie's house when I was looking at this, and it was just so insane. It was so funny. It was this is, you're not gonna be able to hear the audio, but like KFC like used, like, this is actually the KFC account, and it's like they've just been shit posting. They've been like, it was Neko Arc. They put Neko Arc, and there was it was a ham. Like, what is going on? And then like going on their account. This is, I believe, the what is this one? The Spanish version. They've just been doing such really weird posts. Like, they've been, I can't like. They're doing stuff with like animatronics. They're doing like, it's just, it feels like it's just, it doesn't feel real. I hope I can, let me make sure that I can, I'll scroll through the account. I just hope that I can show, like, I hope they haven't like shown anything that isn't like okay, look at this. Look at this. This is the official, this is the, it's the official KFC account is posting Freddy Fazbear. This is the official KFC account for, I believe, like, it's the Spanish KFC mark, and it's just Freddy Fazbear doing the Fortnite dance outside of KFC. And then below it is it's the Goku, I think, or Trunks, you know, eating chicken. Like, what is this? This what? It's just, they're just shit posting. Like, it's straight up, what is this? And then there's Virgo. And it's KFC. And it's it's crazy. It's insane. I really want you guys to just, like, I don't know, some of these brands are turning insane. Like, I don't, it feels like their accounts have been hacked or something. It's like, I don't even have words to describe this. It's just, when I saw it, I just thought that this couldn't be real. This isn't possible to be real, but it's like, it's actually them. It's actually KFC, and they've gone off the deep end. We've lost them. We've lost them to memes. Like, they're probably posting shit about Skibbity Toilet at this point. Like, the brain rot has consumed KFC, our funny man, our funny Kentucky man. They're gone. We've lost them. We've lost them to the memes. Also, to bring a little update on the wonderful Pierre, who is the Shy Lily Clips channel. Their channel has been reinstated, I believe. They've been unbanned. That's good. A little update. That was a little update. Little mini ring. Pierre, this was on the last Bunny Babbles. They were unbanned. They were unbanned off of YouTube. You should be able to find them on YouTube now, as long as they didn't get rebanned. And they've been having a lot of help. So there's hope. There's hope. And then now we got this one. This one I thought was really cool. Next topic. New topic. Come on, Fluffle. New topic. D&D Dungeons and Dragons. Do you guys know Dungeons and Dragons, a TTRPG game? You know, you can do Pathfinder 2e, that's TTRPG. You got D&D, Wizards of the Coast. People don't like Wizards of the Coast right now, but that's a thing. Apparently Discord is doing D&D on Discord. It looks like it's going to be with Roll20, which is, you know, a tabletop place that a decent amount of people use. And so it looks like you're going to be able to do it as like an activity or something on Discord, which could lead for a lot of reasons. Like most of the time, whenever you're doing D&D, you're in a Discord call when you do it. So I think it would be pretty sick. It might be a really cool feature. I haven't found, like, I have a lot of DMs and a few people that play D&D. I don't know if they've tried it out yet, but this is definitely something that could be really cool, could be really fun for those of you that are D&D or nerds and stuff like that. And I know one of the things that I'm working on and have been working on for the past year, I'm hoping by the end of the year it can, you know, we can at least get a one shot of, you know, I have a bunch of lore, I have a shit ton of Shuri lore. I'm planning on doing more lore videos and stuff like that, of course. I have like 50 pages worth of lore, and I'm making an entire world, and one of the, you know, the world is going to be turned into a kind of like a homebrewed Pathfinder 2e type of D&D thing that's going to be available to Patreon members and stuff like that, and you'll be able to like literally make your own character that isn't the fluffle. Everyone always has their fluffle. We could even do fluffle campaigns for D&D, which would be really sick. If you don't know what the fluffle is, I'll turn them on for a little bit. This is you, this is the Fluffle, this is our mascot. There's 4 different factions of the Fluffle. This is the Sleepy Fluffle. This is what I use for my mascot most of the time. That is supposed to be you in the lore, you know, like you come into the flower shop, you end up subscribing or following, which means you have now seen too much in like the Shiri world because you've gone into the chambers, and I turn you into this cute, lovable little thing. In the Shiribun D&D, I plan on it'll be the first D&D campaign will be in the magical continent, which is not where Shiri lives, so you're probably not going to be interacting with me, Shiri, but you're of course going to be able to interact with other characters in the world. It's going to be like a livable, breathable world. There's a completely cool, unique magic system where you're able to essentially create any spell you want. You get to be any kind of thing you want. I'm making it super customizable, and of course if you have like choice paralysis, we can help you, we can walk you through stuff, and it's going to be entirely coded through Foundry. It's going to be really cool. It's something we're working towards. I'm still working on the story. I'm working on different plot points, and the way, you know, you're going to be able to make your own character. You can be a Komodo Mimi, which is like what I am with the animal ears. You got elves, you got different types of elves, you got a bunch of different, it's just a ton of cool stuff. There's going to be different continents, there's going to be different things, the story is going to evolve, and you might actually be able to make an impact in my lore, which can be really, really cool. At the very least, I think what's sick and the most sick about it is the fact that like you have a character in my world. Like you are canon. Like you are already canon as the Fluffle, but like you'd be even more canon as, you know, like your own like actual cool character. And then, you know, I can help you with like the customization and stuff like that, and different magic and like, you know, what you want to be, different class, stuff like that, more customizable. And you know, it could be kind of interesting. You could be besties with Shiri if you get that far, if you make it that far into the campaign. Who knows? Anyway, that's a little bit of a shell of my stuff. It's not completely out yet. Of course, I'm gonna make some cool, sick announcements and videos and stuff like that, and like lore teasers and stuff like that once like it's actually fully out and ready. But you know, that'll be a great avenue for Patreon and a way to support me while getting some really, really cool shit out of it. Especially if we make it so there's like artworks and stuff of that of your character when you join. It'll be a great way to support me, and it'd be a way to support me even if you don't like ASMR, because most of the time the reason people like support me if they like want something out of me, it's ASMR, and so they go to the Patreon and they go and they get the personal ASMRs and stuff like that. But you know, with this, you know, you might be able to get some fun. Oh no, my jingle. It might be a new avenue of Patreon where I can like actually provide something to you guys that isn't just ASMR, and that's not like me licking your ear, stuff like that. So I'm excited, I'm happy, I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, up next we got our more jingle jingle. Charlie got canceled. It's old news at this point, because, you know, I saw this while I was in Canada, so, you know, I couldn't talk about it. It's the end of the week at this point. Charlie made an announcement saying that, you know, they're gonna leave Discord, and this happened right after a debate that Charlie had with Sneeko. For those of you who don't know who Charlie is MoistCritical. They are like one of the biggest commentary channels on YouTube, on the platform. They're known for having a monotone voice, and they talk like this, and they say stuff like big butt chungus and like woo. They're you know, you've probably seen some memes of this. You've probably seen some memes of this character, and or this guy probably has some memes. So yeah, that's like that's so yeah, that's it. I think that's like how he ends his stuff. But like so one of the things that he'll do, he'll just sit there, he'll talk about a funny topic, and he's very monotone, and he's people seem to like him a lot, and I watch his videos on occasion. I don't mind it. And the other person, the person that he debated with, which he didn't even know that he was having a debate with, was Sneeko. Sneeko is someone that a lot of people don't like. He's known for like being a cuck. He's known for a lot of not good things. He's kind of like a lolcow, to be honest. A lolcow, for those of you who don't know, is what like the internet's punching bag. Sneeko has had a lot of bad takes. They're also on like the Andrew Tate side of the internet, which is known to be, you know, while there's always some good stuff that people talk about, and even the bad sides, they of course have some good things, such as like, you know, positivity, like self-positivity, trying to get your self-confidence. It's just sometimes they teach it and say it in the wrong ways, such as like, you know, to be confident in yourself, you shouldn't have to beat a woman. Like, you know, I'm just saying, like, you know, you don't have to make a woman an object if you want male masculinity. You know, you could, you know, be equal. That's, you know, you can treat people like normal human beings. Like, you don't need to have, you know, you could still be proud of yourself and be happy with yourself and work out and, like, you know, gain your confidence without, you know, having bad morals. But essentially, Charlie had a debate with Sneeko, and Charlie was basically pro-trans and, you know, pro-trans rights, and Sneeko, essentially there were two arguments being made. Sneeko was trying to say that, like, you know, if people should be able to be trans, then they should be able to lower the age of consent or something like that. It's been a while since I've listened to the story and listened to the debate. Essentially, they're essentially like kind of two L takes. Charlie was able to explain himself a little bit better in the video, saying like, they basically, Charlie was trying to say that he supported that, like, if a child wants to go through gender affirming care and stuff like that, and they have the consent of their parents and the consent of the doctors, they should be able to do it at a young age. And one of the infamous things was saying, Sneeko said, so if a 12-year-old wanted to chop off their cock, you'd let them. And Charlie replied as yes, which Charlie did not mean that. Charlie meant it in the way of like, it was just a pure hypothetical, because he was just going around in circles, and, you know, he didn't mean for it to be literally, because it's not physically, it's not possible, because, you know, the surgery isn't possible until you're like 18 plus. I'm not too versed in this. I don't know much about the process. Of course, you know, I support, you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want, you know? You know, it's like, be yourself, do what you want. I'm not totally well versed in the process and stuff like that, so I mean, I didn't know what age is legal to do that. I personally am of, you know, the belief of like, you know, wait to do anything that will permanently change your body. Of course you can always, like, with testosterone and like estrogen and stuff like that, you can always take it again, of the opposite one, if you decide that it's not for you. At least that's, I haven't done too much research, so I don't know if that's like, at least that's how it works in my mind. So that, you know, you could do that when you're younger, but I mean, like, wait until you're fully sure for the other stuff. And I mean, doctors don't let you do it anyway until you're, you know, fully capable and have your mind and stuff like that. Either ways, like, so essentially this, he made an announcement to his Patreon where he's essentially saying that he's stepping down for his podcast, and he just wants to be on the internet less. And this happened right after the debate, so everyone was like, oh my god, Sneeko made Charlie go off the internet and he's never coming back, and he's quitting the internet because of this bad debate. Oh my god, he got canceled, Charlie got canceled, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And in actuality, he was just leaving the podcast. He's still doing YouTube, he's still doing streams, he's still doing stuff. His hiatus is just purely for the podcast. Yeah, so He didn't, you know, he came back, he explained it. He did a video on himself. It was a pretty good video. It's just, he explains himself. He explains like the craziness of Sneeko. Sneeko, his takes were a lot of to do with like the underage and age of consent and stuff like that, and how he believes that once people go through puberty, that they should be able to get married as long as everyone is consenting for it. So someone that is a 21-year-old should be able to, and like if a 21-year-old male has consent of both parents, their own parents and theirs, then they should be able to marry a 12-year-old girl as long as they've had their first period. As long as they've gone through their puberty, then that should be the nature's age of consent, is essentially what Sneaker's take is trying to be. Sneaker's take. Kind of insane, kind of like people definitely think he's kind of a weirdo, but you know, Charlie saying, you know, let's chop off some kid's penis, didn't make Charlie look good either. So a lot of people just came out of the woodwork saying like, you know, both of these are L's. Charlie admitted it was bad debate. Charlie said that he's not a debater. He doesn't like debating. He sucks at debating. He didn't realize it was going to be on stream. He didn't realize it was going to be a debate. He just wanted to have a civil conversation. And you know, so that's why he said like, yeah, no, I sucked. I did you shit. Yeah, I wasn't trying to debate. I didn't really, you know, I didn't know we were going to have a debate. I thought we were just going to have a conversation. And you know, Sneeko was, you know, like farming clips and being like, yeah, you know, they would, so it was just kind of a mess. It was a big, it wasn't that big of a deal, but you know, like a lot of Twitter was just shitting on Charlie because a lot of Twitter just doesn't like Charlie. He's okay. I don't mind him. He's okay. I think his takes are pretty safe most of the time. And you know, it's like, it's so funny because like, you know, a lot of Twitter shits on Charlie for not like ever having like a strong take or a hot take or like sitting on one side, you know. And then the second that he actually like, you know, takes a stand, Twitter just shits on him. And so it's like, well, what do you want him to do? Do you want him to like, you know, vocalize an opinion, or do you not want him to like fucking make up your mind? Anyway, that was an interesting topic. You can of course watch more, learn more, stuff like that. I'm just giving you kind of a synopsis of something that entertained me. It was very interesting. I enjoyed watching this and seeing the you know, I honestly thought after reading this first, I thought you know, Charlie was actually just gonna be done with the internet, and you know, he was I mean, I'm sure he could retire now if he wanted to. He's probably got a shit ton of money, and you know, wanting to like leave the internet, it's, you know, he could definitely do that. Touch grass. He'd probably be healthier mentally and healthier actively. So it's like, you know, I wouldn't have been mad if he left the internet. But he didn't, and you know, I'm fine with that too. Okay, jingle 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 jingle. Time for the next topic. Jingle 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 jingle. We got something to do with the funny VTuber world. Are you guys ready for the VTuber world? Okay. So this person went through the ringer while I was in Canada. This person, Kevin X Live 2D Studio, they kind of got this person has been controversial over the few years that I have been, you know, VTubing and stuff like that. They've gone through a lot. They've gotten a lot of shit from a bunch of people. Some of the times the shit that they have been given has been warranted. Sometimes it's just people shitting on them because they don't like them. They're known for a lot of the sus like assets that you can find on like you know, that you can see some streamers using, like the popsicle where it's like they're sucking off a popsicle, or like there's the rape whistle asset toggle, which was like really popularized because of the one song that's like the Lolly Requiem, I believe is the name of that song. And you know, they have a lot of sus assets, and the model that they use and that they're known for is a underage character that is from like a romance anime where it's the doll maker and the cosplayer, and they get together. She's like blonde, she's really cute. Very well liked. I believe there's 16 in the anime, and some people gave shits because they were using that model to show off the sexual assets that they were making, and that's where the first controversy came from. This was years and years ago. Some people don't like that he's using sus assets on someone that's like an underage anime character. I mean, my stance is it's fucking anime. Who cares? It's like, you know, honestly, I could see that anime character being above the age of 18. Like, they don't even look young. Like, compared to, like, some of the fucking lollies and shit that you've seen. Like, bro. Yeah. And you know, I can kind of understand the rape whistle argument, because it's like, you know, that's a lot more sensitive. Some people actually have those because they're worried of getting, you know, assaulted and stuff like that. That one I can understand would be a much more sensitive topic, especially if people have gone through experiences and traumas to do with that. And of course, you're allowed to just not like the guy. The guy's okay. I don't know if I like them that much. So what started this past week or so, they made a model and they called it Chubby Fit, and people were getting very, very, very upset over the fact that the model that they made did not look chubby, despite the fact that it had fit in the name. So a lot of people were coming out that were either self-conscious about their bodies, or just didn't like the guy, or just didn't like the model. And we're talking about how this is essentially like disrespectful to people that are fat, because this is not fat, this is not chubby, this is not this. But, you know, the defense was, it's Chubby Fit. I just drew art of a character that I liked, and they're not like, you know, there's fit in the name. So it's not like it's supposed to be chubby. It's not supposed to be fat. It's not supposed to be a fat character. It's a Chubby Fit character. So it was more just, it was basically just an hourglass type of shape, where they were a lot more curvy, and they're like, you know, I don't think it was that big of a deal. I think people just don't like this person. I just think people don't like Kevin, and they found a reason to, you know, not like them more. So there, and you know, Kevin also gives reactions and stuff. They will, you know, they talk back, they say shit like that. But then more shit started happening, and these ones are way more valid to be upset at this person for. Two major things happened. I would say three major things happened. Essentially, they came out with the fact that they essentially use AI to do all of their rigging. And I believe they came out with like the program and the AI that they use so that, you know, other people can do it and stuff like that. They might have released it on their Patreon. I'm not 100% sure of that, but people were very upset that in the TOS, and like their terms of service and stuff like that, they didn't ever say that the rigging was essentially like just a template. Like they, for the rigging, which is what they do for a job, they do rigging and stuff like that. I also believe they do art, but like a lot of the times what they went for is rigging. They didn't have in their TOS that they essentially don't really do any rigging. They just have an AI do essentially all the work for them. They have like a really in-depth system where they just resize it so that the skeleton is correct, and then it does most of the stuff for them, and then they probably touch up a little bit. So people are paying for a full job of rigging, which normally takes like hours and hours and days and weeks, months, sometimes even years. For, you know, they're paying for someone to do like personal work, and you know, they're not paying for someone to just use AI for, you know, the rigging. And so people were very unhappy that that wasn't in the terms of service, because, you know, essentially he's cutting out a lot of the work that is supposed to be done, and that they're paying for that work. If it's going to be easier for you, it should be cheaper for the people that are paying you, because, you know, they could just do it themselves if they get the same program. Another major thing that happened is on the Patreon, some of the files that they were releasing still had, you basically could access the Photoshop files of previous customers and stuff like that. And so people were pissed off at like them using like essentially here they say here where I will not be reusing your files for template development. So like they were using people's models that weren't consenting to show off the rigging and show off how complex their thing is. And in the Photoshop files, they were able to basically, the people that knew how to work systems and stuff like that and knew how to code were able to backtrack and get the actual Photoshop files for people that did not, you know, they bought for art, they bought art to be rigged, and they were able to essentially get the actual files of the model themselves, which is something that a VTuber, you essentially got the blueprints to a VTuber. Like you got, you know, stuff that's like thousands and thousands of dollars just on access on your Patreon for anyone to have and anyone to use, which is really fucked. Like as a VTuber, your Photoshop files is essentially, that is who you are. That is how you're able to move. That is you as a person. So being able to have that stolen on a dime by anyone from like a, you know, like, I don't know, $5 Patreon tier, who knows, is really scary, especially if your shit isn't public, especially if you haven't debuted yet, or you're planning on debuting, and so people can just show steal and like use your model that you haven't even showed yet. Those were the major complaints. Of course, this is like their apology for stuff, and they're, you know, they stated their changes. They stated that they're gonna fix the problems. I'll read it all for you guys. I'll read it all. Okay, there we go. I have read all your comments and I will transparently disclose my use of rigging templates. That's like his little AI thing that he uses. I will not making modifications without the artist's consent and respectfully consider feedback on the final project. I will not reusing your files for template development and ensure your file security. Take the time and care needed to meet clients' expectations. Correct my aggressive behavior on the internet and maintain a professional manner. Yeah, they like, whenever someone was like kind of shitting on them, they fought back. They were very loud. They're very aggressive whenever people, like, you know, had criticisms towards them. You know, sometimes the criticisms were obviously bad faith. Sometimes the criticisms were just mean, but sometimes the criticisms were genuine criticisms, and they would bark back and they would fight back, and they would be kind of like, it would be kind of mean, be kind of unprofessional, if you will. And then lastly, jingle jingle. We're done with that topic now. I'm done with it. I'm done. Anyway, last topic. Last topic. Jingle jingle, jingle jingle, jingle jingle. It's time. You ready? This one's crazy. This one's just a funny story. This one's insane. An insane story, if you will. So here's a GIF. This person's talking about how, like, my profile picture is supposed to be animated, but Elon hasn't made that a paid feature yet. And I first saw this as a quote tweet a little bit ago, and it was quote tweeted saying, "Aren't you the guy that killed your roommate with a missile?" And sure enough, another quote tweet later, it showed the criminal charge of this person, you know, it showed their criminal charge and the fact that they had murdered someone with a missile. It was their neighbor. They essentially killed their neighbor with a missile. And that's why there's 17 million views on this. 17 million. This only has 2,000 likes. Here's a little reference of this. This tweet right here has 1,000 likes and 100,000 views. And this is 95 like retweets. This almost has more. That's because people are quote tweeting. It's not well liked because this person murdered someone. 17 million views, only 2,000 likes. This is like like, look at the difference in this. Look in the difference of this. This is insane. This is insanity. And if you go through the quote tweets, which if you don't know how to go to quote tweets on PC, you click here and then you go down to view post engagements, and hopefully I don't get, you know, yeah. So like essentially it's just a bunch of people memeing that, like, bro shot a missile, and like it's just, how does this happen? It's such a wild story. This person, let me see if I could try to find the actual, let me scroll down and see if I can find here. Oh, I found it. There it is. Okay. Same person, by the way. This is the original. That's the wrong button. This is the original. This is the one that I saw. Same person, by the way. So here, let's click on this. So this is the original tweet. This is what I saw. This was what was crazy. And I'm gonna like this. It was, you know, they quote tweeted. They said same person, by the way, and then this is a sheriff office. This is their thing. And if you click on, you guys can't see it. Let me enlarge it for myself. Okay, so their charges are homicide, murder first degree, and weapon offense, missile into dwelling, building, or aircraft. Missile. How do you get a missile? How did you find a missile? What did this person do to deserve someone? And the fact that they're a furry is crazy. Like, you know, obviously not every furry is going to be buying missiles and sending them into their neighbors, but just like, and it's like such a cute animation too. It's like you would never expect this person to be, you know, have a fucking homicide charge of a missile. They killed someone with a missile. How? How? And like, I don't know, it's just, it's so crazy. It's just the story. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw it. It was just like the KFC all over again. But either way, that's just a crazy story. I just wanted to share the story because it's silly. It's a little quirky. It's a little funny. I thought it was funny. But jingle 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 jingle, that's all of the funny current world topics and little things that I wanted to share for that. Up next right now, I'm going to talk about the questions now that I may have for you, the questions that I have. Of course, I want you to ask me any questions that you have to do with Canada, my trip, myself, and, you know, like maybe you have a question about Taiga, anything like that. Of course, I will be answering these. I always look at the questions and the comments and the Bunny Babbles and also the Thump and Barks. So I would love to hear, you know, just if you have any questions for me about that. And if there's anything, any topic, any questions, or any segments that you want me to talk about in the future Bunny Babble, of course, put those in the comments as well. And now the questions that I have for you, you know, anything regarding around the trip, of course. What do you think about the Mr. Beast situation? Do you like Mr. Beast? Do you think Mr. Beast is kind of insane? Do you think Mr. Beast is crazy? Did you never like Mr. Beast? And now you finally have a real reason to dislike them, but you just kind of disliked them before. That was kind of me. I never really liked Mr. Beast. I never liked his content. I never liked anything like that. I just didn't like him. And, you know, I'm not ever trying, you know, if I don't like someone, which, you know, it's, you know, I don't normally try to find reasons. I don't try to vindicate or justify why I don't like someone. Sometimes I just don't vibe with someone. I just don't like someone. You know, sometimes I don't like certain types of content, so, like Nuxtaku. Like, I just, you know, their content never vibed with me. I never really cared for it. Like, I don't know. And so you could have just not like Mr. Beast, or maybe you do like Mr. Beast. Maybe you're really sad about this. Do you think that the Mr. Beast allegations, do you think they're true? Do you think they're serious? Do you think it even matters to begin with? Do you think they should, you know, treat their employees better? What is the most shocking thing about Mr. Beast? Can you believe any of this? Do you think all of it's fake? Do you think it's just allegations and they're all false? Like, do you think that they're all just making this up and they're trying to get down at Mr. Beast because they found an opportunity, because Ava, Chris Tyson, ended up getting exposed, so they used that as an opportunity to go after Mr. Beast? What do you think? What are your thoughts? It's definitely a big story that popped up and it's still ongoing. The next week's Bunny Babble, I'll probably be talking about Mr. Beast again because it is a current topic and it is a huge topic. And then up next, of course, one of the things that we talked about was KFC. Do you think KFC is insane? Do you think that, like, brands like that, do you think it's better that they're getting into memes? Do you think they should be brain rot? Do you think they should be concise? Do you think they should be normal? Like, do you like it when brands try to be funny? Do you like when brands are trying to be funny? That's essentially like one of the major questions I have with that, of course. And then when it comes to the D&D, the Discord D&D, are you excited for the Shiribun D&D? Do you have any questions about the Shiribun D&D? Do you have any questions about my lore? Do you have any questions about just like D&D in general? Have you ever played D&D? Do you like D&D? Would you be, you know, willing to join the Patreon if it means that you get to, you know, experience my D&D, make a character in my world? Do you have any questions about that? Do you have any questions about the character in my world? Do you have any questions about the lore in my world? Do you have any questions about, you know, the world setting? Are you excited for it? Is it something that you'd be willing to do? Just anything regarding the D&D, like, and the Shiribun world, and like, is it something you're looking forward to? Maybe I can make some content out of it. You could end up being in YouTube videos if you join the Patreon. Maybe I don't know. I feel like it would be a really cool idea to have a few campaigns where they, you know, it's turned into videos and you get to see the lore, you get to see the world, you know, animated well, maybe get some art. That could be cool. And that's a question for you guys. Do you guys got any opinions on the MoistCritical situation? Do you think that Charlie was in the right? Do you think the debate sucked? Do you think Sneako's good? Do you think Sneako's weird? Do you think that, did you believe that Charlie was going to be off the internet if you did know about it, or you saw the tweet or stuff like that? Do you even care? Do you care in the slightest? I'd love to hear your opinions on the fact that, you know, Charlie said that they were going to go on a hiatus and the internet, like, mistook that. and they kind of got banked and bonked via a bad debate. Then when it comes to the live 2D model person, the questions that I got regarding that one is stuff like, you know, do you feel like people should be transparent if they use like AI for rigging or stuff like that? If they have their own program that essentially does all the work for them, do you think that should be stated in their TOS? Do you think it's fair for people to just not tell others that, you know, the work that they're doing is being, you know, like, what if you made the program yourself? What if, like, you know, you went through the effort of coding this program, coding this AI, coding this thing that makes your life easier? Should you write that in your TOS that you use that? Should you devalue your work? Should you make yourself cheaper? Should you make yourself more expensive? And like, what are your opinions on like the sus assets? Do you think it's weird that he's using the anime model of like someone that's kind of underage? Do you think it doesn't matter at all because it's anime? Do you think that like some of the assets have gone too far, such as like the rape whistle or, you know, sucking off an ice cream? You know, what are your thoughts on this guy? Have you heard of this guy before? Their name is Kevin X. Have you heard of them? Have you seen their work before? Do you know anything about them? This is something that's more regarding the VTuber community. So, you know, it's not the FleshTuber world, it's the VTuber world. And yeah, that's something I'm curious to see about and hear about, and just like also the fact that like people's files can be bought off of their Patreon, of like people that are not consenting to that and didn't know about it in the slightest. And then lastly, can you believe a furry had access to a missile and killed someone? That's crazy. That's insane. What's your thoughts on that? And jingle jingle. Jingle jingle, it's time for the ending. That was all the questions. There's of course a ton of questions. I'd love to hear your comments. Please leave an algorithmic comment down below. And you know, that's crazy if you made it through an hour and 30-minute video. This was the longest Bunny Babble that I've ever done. And you know what? This has been the Bunny Babble. This Bunny Boy's been babbling on for Betty hours. Betty hours. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully I'm good background noise. This one's probably gonna go up way late at night because I took a while to record and I took a long time recording, and now it's gonna have to take a while updating or uploading. I have to make a thumbnail and all that stuff, so this might come out at like 1 a.m 2 a.m you know, it's gonna come out a little bit late. Hopefully that doesn't affect the viewers, but you know, it is what it is. If you like the Bunny Battles, you have something to wake up to in the morning. If you don't, yeah, that sucks. So like the video if you liked the video. Leave that algorithmic comment down below, of course, please. I gave you so many questions, so much stuff to talk about. You don't even have to answer all the questions, just answer the questions that you want to answer. And if you didn't like the video, of course I'll kill you and your family and your dog and your dog's dog and your dog's wife. And you know, you too, you know, I'll let you watch everyone die. I'll let you watch just all your precious possessions just fade away. And you know what? You're gonna live. You're gonna live. You're not gonna be able to. You're not ever gonna be able to die. I'm gonna make you immortal. You're gonna be a fluffle. You're never gonna be able to escape your existence, and I'm gonna make you forget all about it slowly. You're just gonna slowly lose your grasp on reality if you dislike the video. So don't do that. Anyway, that was my Bunny Babble for today. I'll see you again next week. If we got any topics, make sure to leave them below. And this Bunny Boy is babbling away, and it's bye bye. Bye bye. I need you guys need to come up with like a good intro and outro for these things. Like Bunny Boy Babble bye bye. I don't know what the outro is. But bye bye. 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 Bye bye.